What's it gonna take for you to finally break up with your bullshit? Think what you could do if you could only break up with your bullshit.
Hello, welcome to the second episode of the Break Up With Your Bullshit podcast. I'm Michelle Akin, and today my guest is Stella Santana. So she is a recording artist. She's an awesome singer, and her music doesn't really sound like much of what I find out there. And that's the cool thing about Stella. So she is actually the daughter of Carlos Santana. And I think about this a lot. If my father was a music legend, I would probably have some feels about going into music myself and what that would all mean. And she talks a bit about sharing her ideas with her dad in this episode and what that's like. But I think the main thing you're going to get from watching her is that she's her own person. She's the ruler of her own little universe, and she's unapologetic about it, which is so cool. I think more of us could just, absorb that kind of energy and take it into our lives. So I hope you enjoy the episode with Stella Santana.
Hello, Stella.
Hi.
Thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So I'm starting off all of these by talking about how we know each other, because that's a fun story for literally everyone. What do you remember about how we met?
I was into the coaching world.
Yes.
And you were shooting for a woman that I was doing some stuff with.
Correct. Yeah, I think we met in Mexico, actually.
Yeah. In the early aughts.
Yes.
Or no, the tens.
It was the tens because I was already, no. It may have been 2010, actually.
Yeah, 2010.
Yeah.
And that's all. I remember going to an improv show, but I don't know if you were in it or if Justin was in it.
Probably Justin's improv show. He was on a house team at the People's Improv Theater for a long time.
Yeah, because I went to this improv thing out here, not for myself, but for my husband, because he wanted to try it.
Yeah.
And it was so bad. And I was I'm just spoiled, I think, because my first experience was in New York City with people that take it very seriously.
Yeah.
And this one was called I don't want to say what it was called because I don't want to
That's fine. We don't have to throw shade.
But I was this is not what I saw. And my husband was what is this? And I was no, it's better. It's better than this. It's better than this.
Long form improv, when it's good, it's good. And people make fun of it a lot. Just people make fun of improv in general, but it's an art form. And when you do it well.
Totally is and when you do it well, it's so captivating.
Yeah.
But when it's bad, it's painful.
That's actually how
not a lot in between.
Yeah. No, I saw him. I was an improv student in New York, and my friend Grace, Grace. She was like, "Oh, I want to stay for Big Black Car." That was the name of his group, and then I saw him on stage, and I was going because Ellie Kemper and Kristen Schaller in that group, and I wanted to see them. And then I got really distracted by this guy who was so amazing at what he was doing. I was like, "No, who's that?" And I accosted him at the bar after. I was like, "Hello, my name is Michelle. How are you so good at improv?" Justin. And I was like, "Nice to meet you, Justin. How are you so good at improv?" Yeah. I was angry about it.
What is the meaning of this?
Yes. How did this happen? He says hi, by the way.
Oh, hi. Say hi back.
Yeah. I'll tell him.
Where are you guys right now?
I'm in Eatontown in New Jersey.
Oh, okay.
At this podcast studio, a shared universe.
Cool.
So here's what I guess what I remember about us meeting. I have a mini confession inside of it. Just to start this off spicy. I met you. I think we were in that Mexico retreat when I met you, and we hung out. Me, you, and Grace hung out because you were closest to my age of most of the women there.
Yeah.
And I really loved you. And then a few days later, someone said that you're Carlos Santana's daughter, and I was like, "What?" and then I went, "Oh my God, I'm so glad I didn't know that."
Totally.
I was like, "Oh, I can actually be friends with her and not be weird. Oh, that's so good." Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Because I don't often not know something like that about people and then
right.
with them. So it was nice because I felt like I could, I don't know, trust myself more being friends with you and not
Yeah, it's nice to have it, people learn it after.
Yeah, I bet. Because people are weird.
People are so weird. It's like when a camera's up and you just like see them, they're like on their phone. They're like,
Yeah.
what's wrong with you? It's a fucking camera. Like, ah! Like, people are just so weird. Yeah, but I'm glad that happened.
Yeah, me too. And then we had a lot of fun lunches. That was like our thing, was going to lunch.
Was it? Oh yeah, we went to the place that I forgot what it's called in Brooklyn.
I was thinking about it earlier, and now I remember the name, Pequeña.
Pequeña. No, there was a soda.
Oh yeah, we used to go to Soda. I wonder if that's still there.
Soda bar? I think it was. I haven't been there in a couple months, but
In Prospect Heights. Shout out to Prospect Heights, Brooklyn.
yeah.
Super gentrified.
I know.
There's like a cupcake shop on that street now.
I know. It's very quaint.
Yeah, I brought my friend Mark there, he grew up there, like when there were riots and you had to be locked down in your house and stuff. And we're walking down the street. He's like, I can't believe I'm looking at a cupcake shop.
I know. We did it. I went to a few of the marches.
Yeah.
When that was happening, and we walked through there, and I was like, "This is," but like everyone was like coming out and like supporting us, and
right.
like the kids were like on the stoop, and like they were holding signs, and they had like pots, and they were like hitting them from like a beautiful like brownstones. They're like, "Yeah, Black Lives Matter," and I was like, "This is
millions
so
of millions."
weird.
It is weird. It is super weird.
I was like, "You like so much." Yeah, I'm like, what world? Like all these worlds colliding, but that's New York.
Yeah, it is. It absolutely is. I remember we went to lunch at I think that Mexican place, and I remember you. Sorry if I'm like blowing up your spot, but you sat down and you looked at me and you went, "I'm pregnant," or "I think I am," or we had some conversation like that where you thought you were pregnant.
Holy shit! I'm glad I wasn't.
Me too. But I just remember being like, I love this girl so much. Just like,
yeah, I don't really have a filter.
Yeah, it's nice.
I'm like, this is happening, or like this looks like that, or like what's that? And then people are sometimes like, we're not talking about that, and I'm like, yeah, but it's right there.
So yeah, that's one of the things I love about you. So tell me about when you, because actually one of those lunches, I remember we were talking and you weren't doing music yet. Like you weren't pursuing it, and you had a few reasons. Do you remember?
Well, I think that especially like right now, I was like talking to my mom about it, and also kind of like my dad, but like, and like this is why I kind of like had some issues like in coaching as well, is because like I just feel like I'm not like a club member person.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm not like my mom's like, we're not joiners. Like, you know, in college, like everyone like went to go to sororities or like go to join into these like join things. And I just had never been like a joiner person. I'm always like, yeah. But it just seems like a fake thing that it's like a weird like costume you put on to like try to be this thing to like belong or whatever. And I just was always like, I feel like I belong, but like I don't need to like prove that to anyone kind of thing. So I think that was part of like why I didn't want to do, because I just thought that the industry itself was like stupid or whatever, like based on like dumb shit.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't really want to be a part of that or like compromise myself to like be in or like be successful. So that's part of it, like the attention and like, you know, I mean, I was used to like getting like attention for like my last name, and I was like, this shit doesn't matter. Like, what do your parents do? Like, like I could ask you the same thing, and it's like, I don't care, you know? And I just didn't want to like validate it by like becoming a part of it.
Right.
But then I was like, but I still really want to do music. So now I'm just gonna like do it in my own way. And like now, I mean, like back then I had like no idea what the fuck I was doing, but now I have like such a better understanding of like the industry and like how things work, which is still shit and like totally uninspiring and like fucked up.
Yeah, you talk about that a lot.
But like it's like very not cool. Especially for someone like me who just like I'm not like trying to be something, I'm not trying to get attention.
Mm-hmm.
Which like, I guess feels like counterintuitive to like being an artist. It's like, if you're an artist, like you're trying to get like fans and you're trying to get like likes and you're trying to get views. And like, that's kind of part of it because like you create content and stuff like that.
Sure.
But the intention behind creating it isn't the trying to get it. The intention behind creating it is like bringing to life what I'm making, what I'm saying. So like if I made a song, I'm like, how do I bring this to life visually? How do I like really convey this message? Like so that more people can understand it. If no one likes it, then what do I do about that? But as long as like the message is clear and when people do see it, it does speak to them if they're like aware enough to like really understand it, because like my ass isn't there, so it's not going to be like that like
talking about how people
grabby.
Scroll past really great work but like and comment on selfies and your ass.
It's so true. It's like, you know, and I'm working with a young artist. She's 20. She's here in LA right now. We had sessions all week, which is also a nice part of being like, I have to have like multiple projects going on. I can't just like be in one, because then if I like hit a wall, I need to be able to pivot to something else.
Yeah.
Because I can't like, if it's like, I won't force it. So I'm like, all right, I have to find something else to do.
Yeah.
So it's nice to be able to like be writing and like helping her, because she's like 20 years old and like she's super talented, but like we're very much like, I'm helping her like stay focused and like develop herself like as an artist and her sound, all that stuff. So, you know, we were just talking about it because she's like, I post like a picture of myself and I get like this many likes, but then I post like my new songs that are coming out and like no one gives a shit. And I'm like, basically, that's how it is. Unless you're like, you know, vouched for by so-and-so or blah, blah, blah. They make the associations with other people that people deem like successful or like tastemakers.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of like, obviously there's people that aren't like that, but the majority of people, and I think Instagram also like reinforces that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
you have to play the game.
Yeah, which I just don't want to do.
You don't. Like no. I love about you know, I read someone talked about your music, and then you said this too. I don't know, whatever. It was that your stuff doesn't sound like anybody else's, and I was like, oh yeah, it doesn't. It really doesn't. Like there's these clones. There's I mean, plenty of music I love and I listen to, but like every girl sounds the same.
Totally.
I still love the music and whatever, but what I love that you do is your own thing, and you could easily play the fucking game, like especially just based on the family you come from. You could just you could exploit the shit out of it and just be like, listen to me. And what's kind of neat is that that's always an option, but like your art is more important, it seems like, and your message is more important to you.
Yeah, and I think like I was just talking like with my husband about it, and like a manager about like Spotify, which is like a whole other like shit show. But it's like we don't even make 1 cent off a stream.
That's crazy.
How? And it's like $1 billion company.
Yeah.
And then if you like don't own your masters, like you like are signed to a label, that's like you make even less than 1 cent. Like I think it's like 0.44 cents to the dollar you make per stream.
Wow.
Which is like, what?
How are you supposed
to? The amount of money you have to put into making music, like the gear, the studio time, mixing, mastering it. If you want to make content, like every single thing that you're doing, you have to pay for.
Right.
Whereas like I was like talking about this with my mom the other day, and we were like on a walk, and I was like, as a musician or as an artist, like you show up to the studio to make your art, and automatically you're in the red. You're paying hourly for the studio time. If you want content there, you're paying that photographer. They get to charge you a rate. If you want video, they get to charge you a rate. If you want hair, makeup, whatever, like I don't do that shit, but like some people do.
Yeah.
If you want like a stylist, like creative director, like which I think are helpful sometimes, because like you can only think of like so many things, and it's nice to have someone to be able to like bounce ideas off to like from a branding perspective,
for sure,
to make sure that you stay cohesive. But and like you're developing yourself. But like all that shit costs money, like as soon as you ask for it. But for the artists to go make their stuff, like you don't get paid to do that. So it's just kind of like automatically like you're in the red, which is like such a strange concept.
It is. It is.
You
It
know?
absolutely is. And it highlights
Yeah.
further that you need to really love what you're doing and be clear on why you're doing it.
Yeah.
And it's not for the likes, at
No.
least. I mean, I don't even think that that's healthy. Like I had like the tiniest bit of internet fame for a minute, and it was really bad for me. It was like being drunk.
Yeah. I was like, one of my old PR, like girls that I used to work with, she's a woman, whatever. She just moved out here from New York. So many people are like leaving and like coming out to LA.
Yeah.
And I'm just happy because like my mom's here. So like I get to be with her. But she was telling me, you know, she's like, she does music PR, but also like mostly like musicians, like artists and stuff like that. And she's pretty like boutique-y. But we had lunch a couple of weeks ago and she was like, you know, I have so many clients that are like really, really talented, but it's hard to get like people to care unless they have all the followers or all the whatever. She's like, there's like this, you know, the TikTok people now, it's like, that's a thing. So it's like, there's like this girl who's on TikTok who was like a stripper and like she did some thing and like people were, but I'm not that saying stripping's bad. I'm just like, you know, it's like a lot of ass still. And like, she got a lot of followers and so then Rolling Stone did a fucking piece on her because she did, and she's done like one song, she's not even an artist. And there's like all these people that have been doing this for their whole life and like really like poor and are actually good at it and are interesting, but because it's not like clickbaity, like even from a PR perspective, like they don't want to look right about it because like they're not going to get the traction that they want to get on Instagram through the algorithms and stuff like that. They just go for like the low hanging fruit, which usually like isn't that like, I don't want to say good, but like quality.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, do you think that it's possible to be satisfied and happy without, like, as an artist, without having all of those clicks and likes?
I think so. It is like really frustrating though. Not gonna lie, it's frustrating. But if you just keep like making stuff, you don't like, you're in the moment and you're making it, you're not thinking about like, I didn't get playlisted for this release or I didn't get blah blah blah, because you're like on to the next thing.
Yeah.
And the nice thing is that if you have a lot of good work and people do find you, they are like fans for a long time.
Yeah.
So they're like, oh, this is cool, that's cool, and this is cool, and like I love all this stuff, and now I'm like put onto this new person. So like that's the cool thing about it. But it isn't easy.
Yeah.
Like it's just like kind of depressing. But it doesn't stop me. You know?
Well, obviously.
Right.
Yeah. What's your fuel?
I mean, I can't like not, but it also is helpful to have like Ava to like work with and like other people that I'm like helping like curate their vision and like think about like, okay, this is like a cool sound for her. This is like a better whatever. Like here's writing, here's the message. Like here's what I can set up for you. Cause like that informs what I do for myself, but it also makes me feel, I mean, I'm managing her. So I get like a percentage, but like, you know, a percentage of nothing is nothing.
Right.
When you get starting. So it's not like I'm like raking it in, but because I believe in her, just like I believe in myself, like it's like a nice way and I want her to do well and like I don't want to let her down.
Right.
That also helps me because if it's like, you know, I obviously I don't want to let myself down, but I'll make more excuses, especially now that I'm pregnant. I'm like, I'm tired, which I was like crying about the first like trimester. It was just like so new for me to like not be productive.
Yes. I was just talking about that actually in the last episode, that my least productive period of time was my first trimester of pregnancy.
Because you feel like shit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this isn't my body. I'm like, I used to work out 3 times a week.
Right.
Like go to the studio all the time. But like now I was like, I just want to lay down. And it was just like very weird to me. And I felt like a piece of shit. I was like, I'm a loser. And my mom's like, you were being productive. You're making a human. And
yeah, this is your creative outlet right now.
Like I'm definitely making something. Yeah. So now I'm okay with it and I like feel like better about it and I have like a rhythm down, but it's the holidays now and it's like also COVID and I'm happy to be with my parents. I don't have like, or my mom, so I don't have like a lot of bills coming in right now, which is nice. But yeah, it's just, I feel like not wanting to let Ava down and also just like, I can't not be creative. Like I have things to say. I have things I hear, I have things I want to bring to life.
Yeah.
So I do get restless like when I can't be creative and I like feel it. So then I'll have to just be like, I need to go into a hole. I need to go be in the studio for like a week, or I need to go do this so I can like feel like myself again. I'm not putting it out in like the next day or anything, but it's like something I can continue to be like tinkering with to like, develop.
Keep it going.
Yeah.
Are you asking them to be quiet out there? Can you hear them?
Yeah, I won't pick up for her. So
okay, I can hear it in my headphones.
I can't hear anything.
All right, good. So right now, like, can you just paint me a picture like what your day-to-day looks like?
Yeah, so well, this week Ava's here, so we're in sessions like from about 4:30 till like 10 or 11. She got here on Monday, so we've been working since Tuesday.
Yeah.
Done like 4 songs. And I'm just trying to get as much done as possible because while I'm with her, because she's in New York. So we're just like cutting final vocals and stuff like that. And just like helping empower her to do the things so that I can like, if she's like, I have this concept for this release and like, I want to do blah, 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 blah. I'm like, amazing. Now I can start doing research and getting some news so I can give it back to you so you can continue to keep like building your vision. Because that's what I'm doing for myself for like album that I'm working on, basically done with. I have like 2 songs I need to finish writing, which I've needed to finish writing for like a couple months now. But I'm just like, whatever, they'll come like when they're gonna come.
Yeah.
And I also have to like show up for them. I recognize that. But
yeah.
I'm like, I have to like sit down and like try to get it out, which I haven't really been making time for. But I'm also, it's like 2 songs out of like, it's going to be 10 total. So I'm like, I have the majority of it done. So I kind of want to focus on like the rollout and like what I want that to look like each piece of content for each song. Like, am I going to have like an activation around it? Like, I don't know if you've heard of Clubhouse.
No.
So Clubhouse is like basically like, how would you explain it? It's like a conversation that you can listen to with a bunch of different people. There's a lot of like music industry people in there and like creative people in there. Also like entrepreneur people. So you can just go in there. It's a free app. Start a conversation with a topic. And then you can like ask people you can like follow people. So when someone starts a conversation, you can like go in. So when you enter, unless you're a moderator, if you're a moderator, you're on stage, which means that you can mute and unmute yourself and essentially like be part of the conversation. And then if you're not a moderator, you can just listen to the conversation. But if you want to add something, you like raise your hand and then they like bring you up to the stage.
Oh, that's cool.
Whatever. It actually is kind of cool. You're probably going to like really, really like it. I'll send it to you after this so you can like download it. It's free, so it's like super easy. But on Twitter, if you see anyone writing like CH, they're talking about Clubhouse. I don't know if you've seen anyone writing about it yet.
I will probably notice it now because
something in now like but I was thinking that I wanted to do like kind of like tiered interactive things. So like Clubhouse is like free. So anyone can come in, anyone can listen. We can have like, I can host kind of conversations about what each song is about to like go in depth. Because I'm not just writing about like skipping down the street and like my outfit to go to like the party or whatever, even though like there's a time and a place for that, but like that's not what this album is about, which is why the writing part is taking me a little bit longer because I'm like really trying to be like, what do I want to say here? And both without telling people what to do, but like more of an offering. So I want to do like that, and then maybe like Zoom like more private things. So like my aunt is part of like a wine club, and which I think she pays like membership for, and they had a wine tasting party, but like obviously for COVID, so everyone was on Zoom. So they like paid money. Everyone got like the wine sent to their house, and then they were like all on a Zoom thing and like tasting it together. Like, so I was like, I could do that, like partnering with like other like brands and stuff that like make more sense to me.
Yeah.
And like having conversations that way. So it's like, you know, I get a portion of the sales for the people that buy the product, so they get it to the thing. I'm just like thinking about like tiered ways to be interactive without being in the same room, especially because of COVID.
Right.
Which actually I like more. So I'm like, I don't really want to be like in the mix. I've never been a person that wants to be like in the mix.
Yeah.
So like, and not doing that for each song, like creating some sort of experience that people can be a part of.
Yeah.
So that they can feel like inspired by the message and like, you know, and then like also like videos and stuff like that, like visuals and stuff like that. So I'm just like breaking it all down, and like I don't have a timeline yet. Probably after I have the baby, which will be, well, I'm due March 30th. So like maybe like May. But that means I have to shoot so much shit like come January. And I'm have to pay for everything or figure out how I'm going to pay for everything, which is a whole other thing. So I'm like, okay, here's my first, let me just not think about budget. Let me just think about the concepts.
Yeah.
And then I can go to people and be like, how can I like get people to sponsor or donate or whatever it is? Because once the vision's like more clear, but that shit takes like a lot of time. I have like 10 songs on the thing.
Yeah, that's
so yeah, so that's what I'm doing right now.
Got it.
Trying to like flesh all of that out and then be able to hand it to my manager or like other people so that they can be like, oh, I can help you with this, or I can fill this out, blah, blah. But I really believe in doing like 90% of the work before you like ask for shit.
Well, I feel like then you're coming with something. You're not coming like, hey, help me, vague idea.
Yeah. Because like ideating is such like and I don't want people to come to me when they haven't done most of the work. So I'm like, if I can just like plug something for you, like I'm happy to do that, but I don't want to like sit with you and like help you figure it out.
Yeah,
because I'm doing that for myself.
I have a friend, his name's Aaron. He's in an a cappella group called Duende, and they have a really amazing album coming out. Like, it doesn't sound like a cappella, and it's like, it's incredible. But he's brilliant, and I sat down with him and he showed me Logic, and he took something that I recorded a cappella and he like put a bunch of like music under it, and I was like, what? Oh, and like he kind of just poked holes in my knowledge and told me, go learn a whole bunch of stuff and then try something, and then when you have something, send it to me and then I'll whatever. So that happened yesterday. I gave him, like, here's something that I did. He's like, remove the percussion, I can't hear anything. And I'm like, okay, here it is. And now I'm like, waiting. But like, I think he made a really clear ask that I not just come and say help me, but actually bring something to the table, and then he can work with me on it.
Totally. But then you get so when you have the right person, like they know what to do with it. Right. If they don't know what to do with it yet, it's like we have to make this into something that someone knows what to do with, which is like,
right.
Maybe it's never going to be that.
How is it for you choosing partners to work with?
Well, my manager and I were friends, and she's like younger than me, and she's Danish, and I always knew I wanted a girl manager.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like managing myself for like a while, which was like exhausting, but also like I learned a lot.
I bet.
So now I'm like co-managing myself. Basically, me and her started like a little boutique like management company. So like we co-manage me. So like I give 20% to the company, but then because I'm half of the company, I get my 10% back.
Right.
But then we co-manage Ava, we co-manage another group, which mostly like I'm mostly doing Ava stuff, and then she mostly does the other group stuff because they're Danish and she's also Danish. It's a whole different market. Like it's just like you could be like a huge like Danish music star and like no one else knows who you are in the world, but like in Denmark, you're like
every once in a while I stumble upon those people.
Yeah.
Somewhere, and I'm like, where did you
totally
come from? How do I pronounce your name? And I have to go like
Totally.
But I love finding that music.
Yeah. So it's like there's so many different music markets out there. It's like she's more on the marketing side and like understands that. I'm learning about it, but I'm also like more on the creative side and like the branding side. So we make a great like team, but that happened kind of out of the blue in like the beginning of, was that like 2019? I think it was the beginning of 2019. She like called me. I feel like I recorded it, but I think I didn't have the sound on like an idiot. But like she called me and she was like, okay, so I was doing some like soul searching and I want to start, because she works at a label, which is like soul crushing in a lot of ways for her. But so she's like, I really want to like start focusing on like artists that I really, really believe in, which is like a very short list. She's like, but you're on that list. Beautiful. And then she was like flying out for the Grammys from London, because she's based in London. And so I met her and then I played her my EP, which I released last year. And I played her that. And I was like, I already have like a plan of like when I want things to come out and like when I want to shoot everything. Like I have maybe I already shot something at that point. I don't know. I worked on that all 2018. Again, it's like you do all your shit like the year before and then you like release it the year after. And it's not just like, I mean, if you have like the team that like label people have, which they're all taking a cut of your shit. Right. So just
then you can get it out quickly.
Yeah. Then you can be like, I have an idea. They're like, amazing. Here's this person, blah, 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 blah.
Discipline to be your own.
Yeah. I mean, it's great to have that, but also like you don't own any of your stuff.
Right. Right.
So it's like, you know,
trade-offs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Trade-off between like, do I do my art or do I pander?
Yeah. Yeah, because then they have a say and they can be like, oh, well, we like this, so we don't want to put any marketing budget behind it because like it's not, we don't believe it's marketable. It's like, I didn't ask you. It's like, well, actually, like we own your shit. So
and they're like, probably wrong too. I mean, like historically, I've heard so many stories of people being completely wrong about what was marketable.
Totally.
So, like, who the fuck are you?
Yeah, but they're like looking at TikTok, they're looking at YouTube, and like looking at these like baseline things like this is just gonna like make money. And it's like, and it's like that's, you know, capitalism and blah blah blah. It's just
they're
like
not willing to gamble
the life out of everything. Yeah. Or like create something interesting. They're just like, let's create something profitable.
Yeah. And it's a quality or quantity type of thing, I think.
Yeah, it's like very manufactured and stuff like that.
Yes.
But I sat with her and like played it and she was like, I want to work on this with you. So then like we started working last year and it was like super amazing. Like she's super smart. We have a great time together. She's also like very strong. So like we can like, I won't steamroll her because I can just be like, I don't want that or whatever. But, and then people will be like, okay. Yeah, but then she can be like, okay, hear me out. And then like we can do that. And same, it's nice to be like two strong people that don't get offended, but can still be like.
That's necessary.
Totally.
I mean, I think probably the worst movies that were ever made, it's because there was a bunch of people with no backbone on set.
Yeah.
You could tell each other no. And so it just got bad and nobody had the tits to say anything.
Exactly. It's like a bunch of yes people, which like I don't do well with either, which I wouldn't do well with anyway. Like I probably wouldn't even want to work with her if she was like a yes person.
Right.
But I really wanted like this dynamic. And you know, it's like even when I was dating, I was like, I know the dynamic that I want, but I know that like that is hard to find because like I'm crazy and like unapologetically nuts.
Yeah. You need someone who can meet your energy.
Yeah, but also like can see it and be like, okay, I understand this, but can also like be like, no, Stella, sometimes and be like, you're seeing me.
Like that's how Justin and I are with each other, and so, like every once in a while, it's on a day where I'm just like I'm not here for it right now.
Yeah.
Like he like takes me on, and I'm like, I don't want to be taken on right now. Like I just want you to be like trophy husband or something. You know, like I want you to be stupid. Can you just be like a stupid hot guy? Like. Just be there, just exist near me. We'll have sex. It'll be great. And then I'm like, I wouldn't survive a day in that marriage, you know, with someone who doesn't challenge me. So I have to remind myself, no, this is actually what you want. You want this guy who's going to be your partner, not your like doormat.
Yeah, exactly. Doormats are not hot unless you're into it.
Unless you're into that, unless that's what you're looking for in life. And if you're really clear,
But not to me. I'll say doormats aren't hot to me.
No, they're not hot to me either. I just hired this girl, Cassidy Crawford, to help me scale my business, and she is no bullshit. And I love it. Like I can name now, there's only really like 4 people in my life who are no bullshit with me. And it's her, my therapist, my coach, and my husband. Like everyone else has at least a lilt of like, well, I don't want to hurt your feelings, but
Totally. I'm like, I have no feelings. Like, tell me the truth. I feel nothing.
when you come at me like that, I might have a reaction. Oh no. Like, yeah. but I think that's a sign of respect.
Totally.
To just like bring it. And then I'm like that with people and they're like, wow, you're really direct. I'm like, and
totally. So direct. I'm always like, prove me wrong. Like, I'm not saying like make me feel like shit, but I'm like, show me that what I'm thinking is, or there's a better way than what I'm thinking. Right. It's like, I really operate off of like logic.
Yeah.
And like, common sense. And like, I'm not super emotional, which sometimes makes people feel like I'm being like cold or like blunt or like sometimes like brutal. But I'm like, no, like, I don't want to waste any time. I just want to like get to it so we can like keep it moving and like move forward and continue to be productive.
Right.
But I also want that back.
Yes.
But I can also tell if someone's like being a hater. I'm like, okay, thank you for that. I'll like log that away. But but if someone's like, no, really, like, I see what you're saying, but like this, I feel like could be like even more like impactful if you did this. And I'd be like, okay, I see that.
Your point. I'll marinate.
Totally.
And then it marinates, and sometimes it's a really great idea.
Totally. And like those are the best discussions. Like Eva's always like, points were made. She always says that. It's so funny.
I love that. So what is the message of the new album? I know it's in flux, but where is it?
No, I've had it since like 2017. So
got it.
Yeah, I know. And that's why like I'm also teaching Ava. I'm like, listen, I've had things that I've been working on since 2017 and I haven't put them out yet because they're special. Yeah. And I need to put them out properly and I'm not gonna rush it.
Yeah.
So like, because when she's like, but because she's 20, so she was like,
yeah, she wants to do it.
Yeah, and she's like, this TikTok girl had like this many views on the thing. And I'm like, but she's not good. Like, do you want to do that? I can't even help you do that. I don't know how to help you.
I don't know how to make it.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know how to make you a TikTok girl. Like, if you want that, like, I could probably try to point you in the right direction, but like, it's not me. Like, I don't have it in me.
And you love TikTok. Like, totally. You're the one who got me on TikTok.
Yeah, but I don't watch it for that shit. I watch it for like the dog and like the hilarious shit. Yeah, I don't watch it for like the weird dancing with the music. Like, whatever they're doing. Yeah.
Today, that was a girl doing it with Mickey Mouse in an American Eagle ad. American Eagle, Disney, Addison Rae, I think that's her name. And they're like, Mickey is doing the TikTok dance next to her. And I put it on my Twitter. I was like, Mickey is TikTok dancing and everything is beautiful. I'm so upset.
It's a weird world. I'm just like, no, this is wrong. This is not okay. This doesn't mean anything.
It does.
But this project is called Distant. And it's like kind of a perfect thing. I remember when I told my dad about it, like in 2017, when I had the idea for it. And like in 2017, also like me and my husband were dating 2015 to like the very beginning of 2017. Mm-hmm. He was 22 when we met and I was 30. So it was like, obviously I was like, okay, like he's probably going to need to like be a young 20-year-old idiot. And I don't really want to be part of it. I already did that. I need to like do that again or like watch you do it and be like very like not attracted to you. So, but I also was like sad. So we like broke up. It's like very heartbreaking time for me because I was like, I knew that he was my person.
Yeah.
But I was just kind of like, why is this happening right now? But I still like had faith that like, I was like, if it was supposed to be, it would be happening, but it still doesn't.
It's gonna hurt. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like walking that line very unhealthily for like 2 years. But I was still walking though. I wasn't laying down. But I was kind of like and I had been to breakups before, so I had like breakup training of being like, okay, like that didn't work out. This was different because like I knew what I wanted. Other ones I was like, I knew it was wrong, then eventually I just like accepted it. But this one, it was like, this could be like a thing, and like, am I gonna find anything that feels like this?
Yeah.
And I am like, I don't know, I'm just like, I'm so like picky and like not needy that I'm like, am I ever gonna find anyone that's gonna like be okay with that?
Right.
But it allowed me to focus much on my work and this concept of like zooming out from things and like letting go, which is different from like running away, because like letting go means like you like trust that that everything's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
Whereas like running away is like you just kind of like avoiding something,
Giving up.
yeah, when it's like still gonna be there all the time. Yeah. So and then I told my dad about the name. I was like, yeah, it's gonna be called Distant. And he was like, why would you call it that? Like, you're such like not a distant person, and like you're so like bright and like blah blah blah. And he was saying, I mean, not like blah blah blah, but he was like, you know, being nice, whatever. But and then I was like, yeah, but you're thinking it's a bad thing to be able to like let go and like trust that like things are unfolding in a way that is supposed to be happening, and you just like don't see it yet, and just to kind of like go with it. And like that ability to zoom out always actually gives you like a better view of like what's going on than if you just like stay like attached to like your narrative and you're just like, you know, like I just picture like I like wrote a song where I'm like sitting on the edge of the moon or whatever, and like that's how far out I am. And it's like when you sit and you like watch, like Paul's obsessed with like this like One Strange Rock thing on National Geographic, which is like on Disney Plus.
Mm-hmm.
It's about like the universe and also like Earth, but like also like the universe, and it just like makes you feel really small. And it makes you think about like these dumb things that like are very like terrestrial, like human, not even terrestrial, but that's like human shit, like TikTok, blah blah blah, like likes, like whatever. And it's just like, this shit doesn't fucking matter. Like there's like vast space like all around, oh shit, hold on, sorry, like all around us, and like we're just like a speck, and like you're worried about like if your ass is big enough. It's like, how is this like how so I'm just like, that ability to zoom out makes the picture so much more clear when you do zoom back in, because obviously we live here, we're human, we can't just like be living out here all the time,
right? You need both. You need the ability to pull back, and then also the ability to be here.
Totally. So like that is the concept underneath like all the songs that I've been writing for it. So it's just like that with yourself, that with relationships. It's like when like I have a song called like Eternal Sunshine, which I wrote when it's like about like when you want to get distance but you can't. It's like I was like thinking about someone, or like probably him, but like I don't know. The idea was like I was thinking about something so much and I like wanted to stop thinking about it. Yeah. But I couldn't. It's like when you want to get distance and you can't have it. So it's like all those kinds of like different relationships with that.
I really want to hear that one. I've had experience many times. Just been like, my brain on this. I don't want to think about it anymore.
Totally.
I want it out.
Yeah, and you're like, I don't even care anymore, but like, why do I keep like thinking about it? Like, why is it keep like? And I very much had that experience like with like my now husband, but like when we weren't together, I was like, it was like every day. I was like thinking
your
about
brain's
it.
in a loop, yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck? I was like, this is so annoying. And like, I like tried everything to like not do that. And I was just like, this is crazy. But then, you know, when we did meet up again, which he like had reached out after like almost 2 years, and I hadn't told anyone like that I was like going through this, because I didn't want to give it any more energy.
Oh, 100%. The more you talk about it,
internally. I was like, I don't need to like bring this to life any more than it's already like living. And I don't want to be, you know, I'm not one of those like people that's like hung up on like their ex or whatever. So I was like, just bury it or whatever. So, but when I met up with him, I was like, look, I have to just like tell you this because like, it only makes sense to tell you this thing, which is that like, I really feel like you're my person. And if you don't feel that way, then I can like just be like, okay, this is just like a thing that Stella was like caught up in and she just like move on from. But I really feel like this connection with you. And if you also feel it, then like we should probably like maybe take a second and like explore that.
Yeah.
Maybe not even together, but like, cause I was like, I don't want to like jump into anything, but I was like, I just feel this right now and I can't, telling anyone else makes no sense. I have to just tell you this is how I feel. And like, so, and I'm like, so good to see you after like.
That's just a light combo for, you know,
Yeah, totally. But it was like, I had to do it cause I'm just like, I knew when and where to speak on it.
Yeah.
You know? And then of course, like a couple months later, he was like, yeah. And like the stories that he had about me, like, and like the random connections that kept like coming up for him when we weren't together was just like, you know, the universe was like,
come on, you're supposed to be the child, go.
yeah, or just like, don't forget, or whatever, you know? And it was just like happening for both of us in different ways. And that's just like, you have to just listen to that, you know? But I think that the distance that we had between each other also like now, especially, you know, 2 years is kind of a long time to like not be with someone and like not be with them. Like we talked, it was like radio silence because I'm not the kind of person that can be like, be like hooked up again. Like I was like, no, like you're kind of like dead to me. So, so it was actual like complete and total nothing. So I could live a life completely without this person and be like, is this the best thing? Or do I like really miss that presence?
Yeah.
So we had the opportunity to like really experience what it's like to not be with each other.
Yeah.
And then now it's like, okay, yeah, this is like my person. I would never, we already did that. Already did the like, I'm not with you.
Right.
You know?
I think it's cool because you get to choose it from a different place.
Yeah.
After that. It's not just like, well, this is the next right thing, so I'm just going to do it. Like from an automatic place, which is where most people choose relationships and babies and everything. It's like, okay, this.
Totally. It's just like so odd. Not odd. It's just like, if I'm stuck in something that I don't want to be in anymore, I'm like a pain in the ass to be around for myself, for the other person. Like it's just like not an enjoyable experience for like anybody involved. So it takes me a lot I have to be like fully committed to something and know that I'll be fully committed in 6 months or in like a year. Like I'm still gonna like, it's like taking on like a music project. I'm like, yeah, that's fine. Like I love this shit. I'll do it. Like thinking about all the time I have to put into this album, like that doesn't make me not excited. Right. But before we left, we were thinking about buying a house or like a property in New York. But then it was like, that was just like such a shit. It was just like so much work. Right. And I was pregnant already. And I was like, yeah, no, this doesn't seem like something I'm going to want to be. Like, if you keep being like, you have to do this, Stella, you have to, you know, sign off on this. And like, you have to make sure, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to be like, I don't want to do this anymore. I already knew it. So then that's when I came out here.
You seem to have a really great relationship with your intuition. Have you always been like that?
I think so, yeah. But I was like an avoider person for a little bit. Like I was like trying to make things work when like they obviously weren't working. And then I think like right in like 2013, I was like dating this guy, which was like, there was no point in me dating. I mean, obviously there was because I dated him. So like there was a point or whatever. But like, and he also did music. So like, and really like got me into doing music, mostly because I was like, I think I might be better than you at this.
Okay, that's amazing.
I was like, I feel like I could do this like better than you. But so I'm gonna try it. So, but like there was no, that was like the reason that we were together, was like light that fire in myself. And I understand that. It wasn't like
meant to be.
Yeah, no. But I had been in another relationship before that, and I was like sad about him. So like literally the day after we broke up, I like got with this other guy just to like not feel like pain or whatever. So like in that way, I was like being dumb and like not listening.
Yeah.
But then, not dumb, but you know what I'm saying. And I'm talking about myself, so I can call myself dumb. I'm not saying you're dumb for not doing it. I'm saying I'm dumb. But then like once I realized that it was like really not working, and I was like, I like ended it, and he went and like started dating someone like days after.
That never feels good.
And like put it on Instagram and like blah blah
Ooh.
blah. And also like he had a daughter who was like living with us and who I was like taking care of a lot. And I was just kind of like, why are you acting like I was the problem? Like you've always been the problem. And now you're being like, I'm happy now with this new person. And I'm like, you know what? If I left me, I would probably have to go find someone fast too. So like, you. Like,
I love that reframe, and I hope a lot of people listening to it just take that and just apply it.
Yeah, like if I lost me, I'd probably be like trying to like figure out how to like hold my life back together also. So like you do you, but
even
also like that
choice, like people make that choice and then realize afterwards, well, that was stupid, and then go do weird things.
Yeah, but it was one of those things where like it wasn't a match. Like we weren't going in the same places. Like he still probably lives in the same house like with his mom, like or close by. And it was like I was never, not that I think anything wrong with that. That just was never going to be
It's
my
not
life.
your vibe at all.
Yeah, and it was just kind of like stop trying to make fetch happen.
You
know? It's just like stop. Like it's not
just got
never gonna happen. Never gonna happen. Like it's not. So like, but then, and that was like a really painful year for me, of like being single, or like year and a half. No, well, I was single for like almost 2 years, but the first like year, it was like very painful, especially because I was like, no, I'm not gonna go try to like date anybody. I'm not gonna talk to anybody. Like I'm gonna focus on my music and like be in the studio and like whatever. And I was like, I'm gonna do like the hard thing or whatever.
Actually be with it.
Yeah. That I've been avoiding doing for however many years now, which granted I was still like in my late 20s. So it was like your 20s are like your dumb years or whatever, where you think you're being smart, but you're not being smart.
We were friends. That's when we were hanging out. We were both
yeah. Or maybe when I was being, but it's like you're still like figuring out like what is happening. So I was, and then an engineer friend I have in Brooklyn, he has this, he calls it like you have to just cry once. He's like, just cry once, and then like, which I love. So it was like I did the thing. I was like, I'm just gonna cry once and like make it hard and uncomfortable for a little bit until like I get through this time. And then like a year and a half or 2 years later, I met like Paul. And then I really feel like because I had done so much work on my career during that time, when Paul and I broke up, I didn't have like nothing to fall back on, because like before I had no music.
That's so important. I think like people are staying in relationships because they don't have anything going on for themselves.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Like so important, this relationship. It's everything.
Yeah, because you have nothing that like, if something drains you, it's also going to start draining this other part of you. Like you don't have anything you've like put your like blood, sweat, and tears into. Yeah. So I already had that. So at that point, when like me and Paul broke up, because I had done so much work on my career and like my creative self and like me as like an artist, even though I was in pain, I could still be like, word, I'm going to South by Southwest. Like I'm still doing all these shows. Like I have like a bunch of shit to do, which allowed me to like, and it wasn't like I was like trying to make it happen. It was like already, things were already like lined up because I'd done the work. So I had to like show up and like be there for them, which kept me in the moment of like delivering it at those times instead of thinking like about what was going on.
Like I feel like one of the things I like about being a coach, and I want to talk about how it gets in the way of creative work too, but like one of the things I like about it is that I don't have time to fall apart.
Yeah.
I got too many people relying on me. And if I'm not good, if I'm not good with me, if I'm not good with my husband, my family, you know, like if anything's out, I can't coach people. So I'm like super vigilant about this and this. That's my head, my heart for people who are not watching a video. It's got to be good. It's all got. I have a therapist. I got a spiritual healer. Like, you know, I've got multiple people on my team because there's no time. And I think a lot of people are like, I just can't get the drive and motivation to keep going. And it's like, well, you got to have something at risk. You got to have something that you're committed to, or else, yeah, it doesn't matter if you don't get up today. You're right.
Totally. And like, what is it? I'm on a call.
Hi, Paul.
Paul's in there. Oh shit.
Yeah.
Okay, get out. I love you.
What did he bring you?
Okay, this is another random funny thing. So I have to like, my mom, I'm going to Kauai to visit my dad for like a month.
Mm-hmm.
Or like a couple, not a month, but like a couple weeks. Because I'm not going to be able to fly after that. And I also like wasn't with my family much during like all of COVID.
Right.
So he's like staying there. And my mom was like, you can go, obviously, because I'm like a grown person. But she's like, I'm not going to like keep your dog here.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a fucking bitch to get your fucking dog into Hawaii.
Yeah.
Didn't know that.
I didn't know.
So like, because they have like no rabies on the island or whatever. So you have to like send in all these things. Like you have to like, microchip them. You have to like send in like rabies antibodies from like Texas. It was like been a fucking nightmare. I've been like dealing with that. And I was like, I just assumed that I didn't send everything in time. I wasn't get my permit, but I just got my permit.
Yay! Congratulations. Now your little doodle can go.
Now she can go to Hawaii. Oh my God. Okay, this is like the dumbest thing that ever happened that I even just said that. Okay, my dog can go to Hawaii. It's like, what is happening?
Do you go often? Well, obviously, like not COVID, but in general, do you go to Hawaii a lot?
My dad just started going there to Kauai, which is like I feel like the best island. It's the least populated.
Yeah.
There's not like rows and rows and rows and rows of hotels. Like,
oh my gosh, Waikiki is Times Square on the beach, and
there's like no scuba, like snorkel, like there's like nothing. It's just like there's like one hotel, like maybe it's like a couple hotels, but they're like spread out, and it's just like jungle.
Yeah, that's amazing. I've only been to Oahu once.
Yeah, Kauai is amazing. So that's happening next week. Oh my God. I was like, what do you want? I was like, get out. And I'm like, oh, thanks, get out still. I forgot what I was saying before that. Sorry.
What are you talking about? I don't know. We were just talking about how.
Oh, you were saying about how coaching does sometimes get in the way of your creative stuff.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And everything does. You know, so when the other day when you messaged me, when I started the breakup with your bullshit thing, and you're like, yeah, I did that kind of thing once, or I tried to do like a push, and then I decided to stop because it's in the way of my music. And I'm like, I'm always like, I hear that, and I agree with you that doing so many different things keeps me from getting really focused on one. Absolutely. I have a hard time reconciling it because I'm like, the way I've set it up is I'm trying to learn how to juggle being a mom, being a coach, being a writer, being a musician, you know, like, and I think what I've come to is that all of my creative work is just going to go slower. It's going to go a lot fucking slower because there's just not, like, I dedicate weekly time to it, but I don't dedicate daily time to each thing, you know? And so I've actually cut out a lot of projects at this point. Like, when I first started in coaching, my coach was like, okay, so what are your 4 projects that you want to work on? And I was like, I have 12. And she was like, you have 4. Whatever. Yeah. And that, like, it's taken me until like probably 1 year ago, I finally was like, okay, I have 3.
Right.
So now I'm like, 3. 3. Let's see how this is. Good. Well, especially because if I just did music, I wouldn't be able to pay bills at, at the moment. Like, and I also just fucking love coaching. Like, I love it. I love working with people one-on-one. I love this group that I started. It's so much fun. And I can, like, because you said that to me, sometimes I'm like, how would I spend my day if all I was doing was music, and would I enjoy that?
Well, I think it also goes to, like, you're saying you love it. Like, I didn't love it.
Right.
Shut up. Like, just fucking do it.
Stop.
Why do I have to keep? And I was like, you know what? The amount of annoyance that I'm feeling towards you, I could also be feeling towards myself.
Totally.
I want to be doing. So I'm just going to do that. But that's different. Like, I didn't love it. Like, if you love it, like, you should be doing the things that you love. And it's obviously not going to look the same. I just thought it was interesting because I was like, oh yeah, like that was like my last hurrah with like Coach Anthony being like, okay, let me try to coach creatives. And I was like, but you're not even a real creative. Like, shut up.
Yeah.
You creative first. But like, that was like what I really wanted to be doing. And I had to get honest with myself about that.
Yeah.
But I just like brought that up for you because I was like, I tried that and it didn't really work out for me. I was just like,
well, it triggered me. So there's like something in it, I
mean, maybe eventually you'll have like 5 clients and then everything else will be like all music. But you know what I'm saying? Who knows what it'll look like?
Here's my end game is I keep doing so I'm also a senior leader in a coach training program. So I train coaches, which I still love. I still love doing this. It's really fun. I'm very good at it. And I'm the youngest senior leader in the company. There's only 9 leaders. Like, and most people don't get through to this place where I get to have my own program. Nobody's my boss. Like, it's my program. And really amazing people do it. And it's like, that's really cool. And right now my plan with this company, Accomplishment Coaching, is that I'm going to stay until the CEO tells me you got to go because there's too much waiting out there for you. Like, get out of here. Which I actually really trust him that if I got to some point where there was so much going on, he would kick me out. Like,
pick yourself out first.
I might, but I don't think I've created enough around me yet. I think I'm still like, we haven't bought a house yet. I want to have another baby. Like, there's all these things. So I'm just trying to like get clear on where I am in the landscape of my story. And just be here.
When it makes sense, it'll make sense.
Right, exactly. So, and I don't think I'll be, a leader in the company forever, nor do the other leaders think that I will be a leader. Like, they're not stupid.
Mm-hmm.
You're not here forever. You're not going to do this. And yeah, I don't think I will. But I also, for a long time, wasn't even building my thing. And just like in August, I challenged myself to write a song every week and write a chapter of fiction every week. And I have done it every single week. And it's been painful and it's been difficult. And it's like, well, I'm not inspired today, but this is the only fucking 3 hours that I have. So I better get inspired and do the thing. And some of it's good and some of it's not good. And, it's like, at least I'm doing something, So right now I'm really happy with that. And I could totally foresee a time when I'm not doing so much work, but I haven't laid the foundation for that yet, and it's like starting to happen now, which is really nice.
Sick.
But I definitely see, well, not, but this is again before COVID, I would like see videos of you performing places and I'm like, I want to do that. I'm so jealous. Oh my God, I want to do that. Like, I just want to be on a stage in a room of people that are there to hear me and sing.
Yeah, I want to do that more too, but that shit costs money.
Right.
Like,
how could I do it online? Like, how could I recreate something that's actually satisfying on the internet?
You could. I've been thinking of, I've had like a couple, like, like shoot like videos, but like live videos, not like music videos.
Yeah.
But one of the things that's nice about when you're signed, even though this is all coming out of your pocket, but is that like, you can have like 6 days of rehearsal for like a month. Like, that is so fucking expensive. Like, to pay every single person in that room, pay for the rehearsal space, who knows how big your set's gonna be, to pay for like any sort of like stage like design or set design or whatever. Like, if you want to really do it well, that should cost hella money. But I feel like, I've definitely put in my time in the studio. So it's like that to me, like, that's like $45, $50, $40 an hour, which I've been able to like do. But that feels like the thing that I want to really dive into to like bring my music to the next level and like from a live standpoint. Like I would love to just like, because I'm like, you know, I have to be immersed in it. So like I can go to the studio every day for like a year and like, you know, the 10,000 hours, even though that's not even that many hours, it's like 3 months or something like that, which is like nothing. But, you know, I feel like I got my chops now when it comes to like being a like producer, like being an A&R person for myself, like being a writer, like knowing what I want to hear in a studio. I'm good at that now because I put so much time into it. And I'm like, now I wish I could put all that time into like going to like band rehearsal every day, or like 6 days, like literally 6 days a week for like 5 hours.
Yeah.
Like that sounds like something like, because I'm like, I know I'll just get really fucking good at it.
Right.
Like get so comfortable, and then I'll be like, I know what I want to hear, I know what I want to like change, like this is how the song is in the studio, but then I want to like bring it to life in this way on stage. Like I would love to really dive into that, but that costs a shit ton of fucking money. So you know, so then I'm just like trying to get creative. Like that's another part of like trying to create this vision for my album next year. Is like I want to incorporate some of that. I'll probably like shoot videos of us like performing maybe instead of like having performances, maybe one performance, but you know, because of COVID, it would be like super intimate, which I like anyway.
Yeah.
But still, like, you know, production costs a lot of money, like producing events costs a lot of money. So I'm just like, how can I partner with people, partner with event spaces, like partner with things so that I can get those covered.
Yeah.
But I have to have a vision first.
100%. You can't make a plan without a vision.
No. So that's what I'm like.
But you're so scrappy. I just feel like whenever you have the vision, it'll occur. Like even just the few things you're saying, like, oh yeah, wine tastings. What could I do that would make sense for me? And then like, you know, get this thing paid for, get that thing paid for, and get to do the fun thing that I want to do. Like,
yeah, like oh my god, last year, literally like a year ago yesterday, I had like an EP release party. And I'd been to like release parties before, and I felt like, I mean, they were like label ones, and it was like open bar, which people, that's like makes you want to go. And then like they would like play the music over the speakers, but then you couldn't tell if it was like the DJ playing music or like the actual artist, and it just kind of confusing, and like no one really cared. Everyone was just there to like,
there's no context. There was nothing.
Like, oh, we're doing like a rooftop bar in New York City, and like it's open bar, and it's like through Interscope, and everyone's like, I want to go, but who cares who the fucking artist is, you know? So
whoever put it together just thought, oh, it's like TikTok. Here's it's the same sort of energy. This will work.
It's all coming out of the artist's pocket, and I'm like, that's so annoying. But they're like, we're gonna spend a lot of money on this party for you, which actually you're paying for. They're like, what? But then I had this idea like last year. I was like, I went to this place in East Village called Joy Face. It's a bar. It's like looks like a 70s like living room, like a bunch of couches. They have like pictures over the wall. Like they have a water bed, like a fireplace. It's like super small. It's not like too small, but it's like small enough. I have a little raised area that like could be a stage.
Yeah.
And I was like, this place is amazing. I found it through a friend of mine. I was like, this is like very much like the vibe of like what I want it to be like. Like everyone can just sit on the couches, whatever. And then I was like, I want to have like goodie bags ish, giving them like rolling paper, like things have to do with like smoking weed. And like you just like eat pizza, like I'll pay for the open, I'm happy to pay for the open bar to like have to like reserve the space for like 2 hours.
Yeah.
And then so my friend was like, okay, like why don't you just ask like Williamsburg Pizza to like just pay for like, I think I got like 20 pizzas or something like that. 20 pizzas. And then this company called Sackville, which is run by 2 girls. It's a weed company, but they'd be like really cool, like grinders and like cute papers and like the cones you can like Philly with weed or whatever.
That's awesome.
And then they ended up donating like 2 pounds of CBD weed, so it looked like weed and smelled like weed. It like came in these like fucking things that looked like we were like drug dealers. And like Paul went to go pick them up from her house. He just like came home with this like fucking like 2
Got a few kilos. Just
pounds of like weed, but it was all CBD.
wow.
And I was like, and she's like, yeah, I think you should have like a rolling station. So it was like, there was like, they put like a table in there, and they covered it with paper, like all these papers you could like, and like cones and stuff. And they just like put like a big bowl of like weed. It looked like weed, smelled like weed, but it was like CBD. But
And it's smokable CBD.
Yeah.
Wow.
Flower. So they put like a big bowl there, like filled it, whatever. There was like free pizza. There was like free joint rolling. And then there was just like like the cool DJ that I had gotten. And I was like, this seems like my kind of like event. And it was like the funnest thing that like ever happened.
I feel like I saw you talking about it and almost went, but like I couldn't or something.
So
I would have loved that.
fun. And the people at the bar, because obviously people were being idiots and like started like lighting up the joint inside, and it was like, no, you're not supposed to smoke them inside. Like it's still like not legal to smoke inside, even
Like,
though
take it with you.
yeah, I was like, you could just stand outside
Yeah.
and like come back in. It was like private, so like no one else would have space there. But even then, like I was like, I'm so sorry. They're like, it's fine. Like the owners are like, it's fine. We're having a great time. Like this is
Oh my
really
god, that's awesome. Everyone's so chilled out and they love their pizza.
So like, thanks for the pizza. I was like, pizza, open bar, a fucking joint rolling station, and like I sang like songs. And I just like I was like, because I was like, what? I don't like to go to parties. I don't like any of the parties I've ever been to. So like if I was gonna throw a party, how would I throw it? Like what I want to do. And I was like, this is all very me. And then I just like asked my friend, and she was like, oh, here's this, here's that, here's this. Like, and she even came and like was in charge of like the rolling bar. She's like, yeah, I'm just gonna come and like sit here and like just make sure everyone like knows what they're doing. She's like volunteered, and it was just like so sweet and amazing.
When it's good and right, it's so easy.
Yeah.
And everything ends up flowing, and people are like, yeah, I'll help you, and things just fall into place. And I think like the theme I keep noticing is that the industry's bullshit, and you're working on just like being part of it without being part of it, and by bringing like, what do I like, which honestly I think everyone needs to be doing that. Like if everyone just revolted against the system and was like, no, I'm going to do what I want, and I'm going to be okay if it doesn't do as well as Mickey Mouse dancing on TikTok. Like I'm just going to love my shit so much, which like that, as a mom, also we need to talk about that, but like as a mom, I'm just like, I'm gonna raise my kid how I want to raise my kid, and that's that. And I don't even read parenting books, and like maybe it would help me, but I just use my intuition. Same thing with pregnancy. I never read a pregnancy book. I was just like, how do I feel? What do I think I want and need?
Yeah.
Justin's very much like that too. He's like, just listen to your intuition, and if your intuition wants to eat French fries, eat French fries. Like relax.
Totally. And I feel like that too. Like I'm so like, and now my body is like talking to me all the time. So like for some reason, not for some reason, obviously because I'm pregnant. I'm like for some reason, but because I'm pregnant, like I can't eat dairy. I've never had like a dairy intolerance ever. Wow. Like now I get like this like insane like sledgehammer like
headache
migraine.
Wow.
Whenever I eat it, and so now I haven't been able to eat it. But it took me like 2 seconds to figure it out.
Right.
I'm like, oh, it's that. Okay, because
I actually had the reverse. I could eat dairy when I was pregnant.
Oh,
I couldn't
really?
eat it at all. And as soon as I was pregnant, I wanted pizza, and I'm like walking down the street in like Chelsea. I'm like, I guess I'm getting pizza.
And you were fine?
And I was fine. I was fine my entire pregnancy. Any dairy, I was fine.
That's amazing.
Yeah. The body is crazy.
Yeah, but it's like, and I was talking to my god sister who's like she's a doula, and she had this like class that she was taking on like women who suffered like through trauma, which thankfully I have not, but like every single other girl I know has. So and she was saying that women who have dealt with some sort of trauma, like physical, like sexual, whatever, in their life usually have like longer labors. And I was like, well, that makes sense because like you, like if you had trauma when you were younger, your intuition, which is like bad, wrong, no,
Yeah. Protecting you.
it, yeah, is so loud and uncomfortable and you don't know how to deal with it that you start to do coping mechanisms to make it be quiet.
Which slows you down.
Yeah. So that when you become older and your body, you just have to relearn to listen to that because you've spent most of your life not listening to it, trying not to listen to it. So of course, like, you know, for me, I'm like, this, I feel this, like this is happening right now because I, you know, I'm just like, I'll speak on it. A lot of women I know, they're like, I shouldn't, is that really happening? And I don't want to make a big deal out of it. But I'm like, I don't fucking give a shit if it's a big deal. I'm just like, this is what's happening and you need to help me. Like, I'm just like, I can, if I feel it, I'm saying it. But like the time in between, like where people feel it and or women feel it and say it becomes longer when you've, for good reason, had to quiet that part of yourself.
That makes a lot of sense. I've actually I think if it wasn't for Justin, I would have judged myself a lot more during my pregnancy because that, like what you just said, I'm like, yeah, I do that. Like I literally let I'll let something go on that doesn't feel good for way longer than most people would think I would because I'm like I come off very confident and whatever, but I do have this mechanism where I just turn off my feelings completely and I'm like, yeah, I'll just deal with it. I'll just deal with it. And there's so many people around me now that are like pointing it out or being like, hey, how come you're putting up with that? And I'm like, I don't know. It's just
like, what? Oh, you see that too? I just thought,
oh my gosh, shit. Noticed? Oh god. Like, but that's why I need so many people around me is like they can point things out that I are like in my blind spot and then I don't notice. And I keep practicing. But I did hypnobirthing. And I did a natural home birth.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm like, I'm just want all my options available and drugs. One of them.
Well, she had drugs with her just in case. Okay. And the hospital was only 5 minutes away and I had a private ambulance on call. And like, you know, when you do home birth, there's like a lot of parameters. There's a lot of rules.
Yeah.
You have to be like really good, healthy, perfect pregnancy, no problem at all. Like there's a lot of laws about having a home birth. So it was all good. But yeah, I mean, at first I was just performing for the people around. I was like, oh, I'll be like really serene. Watch this. And then it's like fake it till you make it. It worked. So then I like felt I had a very pleasurable labor experience because of this, which is not common. And I get like a lot of that is I'm very fortunate that I didn't have a lot of health issues in my pregnancy and whatever. Yeah. But it was like 11 and a half hours. I'll definitely do that again if I'm young enough because again, there's like all laws about home birth.
Oh, really? Yeah, because your age, right? Yeah, I find mom is like, you look considered a geriatric, like, and I'm like, bitch, I'm 35. Like, relax.
I'm 35. Yeah, we're the same age. So yeah, like it starts to be once you get over 35, it starts to be like risky, and there's different states have different laws about like what constitutes a risky pregnancy or whatever. But I've also heard of women that are 40 that found people who are willing to do a home birth and were able to do it somewhere. So it totally happens.
Yeah, like. I haven't even really thought about it. I just know I'm going to be in a hospital. It's like in Santa Monica.
Yep. But I mean, I think it's good not to think about it too much because when it gets closer, my experience was that the closer it got, the more scared I got, and you know, the more real it seemed, and the more I needed to like meditate and like chill out about it and not freak out so much because that's what creates a bad experience too. Is if you overhype it in your head because in actuality our bodies know what to do and we can do it, you know. Like the adrenaline kicked in after a little bit and then I just stopped feeling pain. So it's like, but you got to get through quite a hump, I will say, before you get to that place. So but there's if you ever want to talk about hypnobirthing, it's basically meditation. Like it's basically like you learn some specific guided meditations and you practice them before the birth and then on the day you turn them on and you're like whatever the science is, it like kicks right in, and then you go back to this calm state.
Totally.
It's really nice.
Oh boy, I should probably start thinking about that.
Well,
I'll wait till 2021.
I mean, I honestly, I didn't start like really prepping until a month before, and even then I didn't really prep. And
Okay.
Didn't you like grow up meditating?
Yeah, but I was never good at it.
Oh, okay. Well, it might not be the path then, but
First, they'd be like, sit in front of this thing. I'd be like,
fine, fine, Dad. I mean,
we just watch the flame move, and I was like, I'd be like, maybe I can make it move with my mind. I'd be like, like trying to like make it move with my mind. I'm like, is this meditating? Thinking?
hey, I think so. I mean, I would have loved that.
5 and I'm 8, so like, throw me a fucking bone, okay?
I think the fact that was never part of my childhood is what made me want to do it. Like you want the thing that you didn't have, not the thing you did have usually.
Of course. And like Paul's really into meditating, which maybe he has to do because of me, but
you're a handful.
I'm like, am I stressing you out? That's weird.
Are you concerned about like how having the baby is going to impact all the stuff that you're up to?
Not really.
That's rad.
Figure it out.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm just lucky because I'm like staying with my mom. She has a baby room. Like she has like a crib and a rocking chair and a changing room already because my brother has a son.
Yeah.
So like,
you got help.
Yeah, I'm like I'm doing it. I'm like, so many of my friends have kids already, so they're like, oh, here's this, here's that, here's this, here's that, and I'm like, sweet. Yeah. And then I do want to do like shoots and stuff, and I'm kind of like, should I be pregnant for those or not pregnant for those? Like, can I do cheats and like whatever? But I'm also like, I don't really give a shit. I'll be like, yeah, I shot all this shit when I was fucking pregnant. Like,
why not? That's kind of awesome.
Wearing like a bikini, like crawling around on the ground, like that's not happening, like in any of my videos. So it's like, like the whole like, oh, we need to make it look like, I don't know, like the Beyonce thing. Everything's like perfect and like so like heavily produced and just like curated and just like I can't.
Right.
I'm not into that. So I'm like, let me just do it how I want to do it. That feels natural and like the most authentic. So people feel like they're getting, it's going to be nice and polished, but it's not going to be like fake or like fantasy necessarily.
Yeah. I mean, like, I feel like there's probably certain songs where it would be perfect for you to be pregnant. Like it'll just make sense or something.
Yeah, totally. I can just like shoot from the.
You can also do that.
Shoulders up, or like, just depends on what the message is.
Right. But I think with your attitude, like it's all that's me too. And a lot of times people are like, that's really not relatable. I'm like, okay. But my mother-in-law moved in with me when we got, when we had the baby, and then we invited her to stay. And now we basically, like, she has her own apartment in our complex and we pay for everything for her food. She cooks dinner every night. So like, she's got my daughter all day. And then I finish work at 6 and I like wrap things up, and then we go over there and we eat dinner and watch Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune. And then I take my kid home and we hang out for a few hours, and then she co-sleeps next to us, wake up in the morning, have fun, watch Disney Plus, get her dressed, bring her over to Granny's, start my work day. And then when I have therapy or when I have the coach training program or when I have like a nighttime coaching gig, she just stays at Granny's, which is awesome.
Totally.
But like other people are like, I can never be away from my kid for that long. And I'm like, okay. I get breaks when I see her. I'm like so happy to see her, and I'm so excited to spend time with her, and it's such quality time. Totally. I just think about like how many times my mom was so stressed out with me and not that she didn't want to be with me, but like she had so much on her mind and she was going through so much, and it's like, I don't ever want her to feel like I don't want to be there.
Right. Or you're not like present at the moment, like thinking about something else.
Yeah, I want to like be there. And so that might mean that I don't see her like how much I should, whatever the fuck that means.
Totally.
I'll go 4 days without seeing her sometimes because I have a bunch of stuff to do. And honestly, like if I, at whatever point I stop doing coaching or coach training, I'm now used to that. So if it's like a weekend where I got to be in a studio or, you know, at a shoot or something, like I'm already ready for that
Totally.
sort of thing.
Yeah, I just feel like, well, also, I think it's healthy for the kid to like not be so attached all the
Yeah.
time, and to
Yeah.
like be independent. I mean, like my dad wasn't obviously always around, but
Oh
I
yeah.
did like take that as like he didn't want to be around. I was like, oh, he's just like working. Like that's what adults do. They work.
You work. Yeah.
Like, it has nothing to do with me. It has to do with him.
Yeah.
I just like had that awareness. And I mean, obviously, my mom says like, "Oh, like, you really miss your dad when he was gone." And I'm like, okay, like if I was little, like I was like, "That's fine," but like it
Of
doesn't
course you miss your dad. Yeah.
feel anything. I don't feel anything now. I'm not like resentful or like whatever. And like Paul's always like, well, he was always like, listen, I'm gonna be like in board meetings, like with the baby strapped on me and just being
Oh,
like,
I
this
love
is what's happening. And he's just like, the baby's gonna be right here. I'm gonna be like telling people what to do, and like whatever. So, we're just like, we're pretty good, like we have a pretty good, like solid like partnership, but we're also like independent,
Yeah.
but also like very much like rely on each other. Not rely on each other, but like I care about his feedback. He cares about my feedback.
Yeah.
Before we move ahead with something. So I feel like, and like being with my mom, like I feel like we're set, honestly.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see how that all works out. And like, obviously I'm one of the people that has kids and is here for any support at all.
Yeah.
On anything, even if it's like to complain about other people telling you what to do, because that happens a lot.
Oh my God. I know. I'm so, like,
thank you. I don't need that.
but like when I want your opinion, I'll ask you for it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I wish I could be a fly on the wall for all the conversations like that are going to happen, but I have a feeling that people won't even bring you their shit because they know that
Totally.
you're not going to
Like,
respond
wow,
to it.
do I want to live to see another day, or do I want to just die today? It's like, I don't know, it's your choice. We were on the way to the studio yesterday, and like we were in the 7-Eleven, and this guy like walked in, and I was like, I could already tell he was gonna like say something out of pocket. And Ava's like 20, and so I'm just like, touch her, you know what I'm saying? And so he just was like, very nice. And he walked by, and I was like, nobody asked you. I was like, nobody asked you. Nobody asked you. He was like, oh. And I was like, nobody fucking asked you. And I was like, if anyone told you that you're allowed to just like say whatever you want, or that like you're good enough to like speak in my presence, like they lied to you. So I'm just letting you know that right now. They're just like, Jesus. And I'm like, well, if you're gonna come out of pocket at me,
Then you're going to get it right back. Yeah.
just like, no.
I wish I feel like if you could bottle that and like women could just drink it, like they would, and you'd be a bajillionaire because like I just want to like be around you while you do it, because I think of that thing to say, but I think of it like after, like all the guys that would be like, mommy, I just want to be like, I'm not your mom.
Totally.
You know,
like, my life is like screaming at me from outside of a liquor store. Yes, this is what I want for my whole life.
Oh my God, I love what you just said. Can I get your number?
I've seen one where the girl's like, I'll marry you. Do you want to get married right now? And they're like, yeah, exactly. Like, stop.
Just return the energy. So I'm asking everybody this, and I feel like I already know the answer to it, but is there any, so this is called break up with your bullshit, like get past that thing that you let get in your way and do your thing. Is there any bullshit that you're still on?
I mean, officially now, no, that I'm pregnant, but
Yeah.
I would say like maybe like drinking before and like smoking weed. Or like, I mean, I'm not ever gonna do it as much as I was doing it before, because I feel like now
you've had the
like
clarity.
Days are over. Yeah, but I'm also like, okay, like I got to do it, and I wasn't like a party or whatever, but like I was still very productive, like high. And
a really great way to write music is to get stoned and then write music.
Yeah, it's not like it was making me like not do what I need to do. I was still showing up and doing it. So in that way, it wasn't like whatever. But like from a health perspective, I feel like it's so nice to be like completely clean of things right now. But yeah, like drinking also is like way worse than Are you there?
Oh, Ming, my camera went off. Yeah, as soon as you stood up.
She's gone. Actually, this is good because I can just email my producer right now. I'm gonna text him really fast.
We gotta finish up too, because this guy's gotta go. You gotta go, right, Ming?
I got 3 o'clock.
Okay, we'll wrap it. If this I see. Mm-hmm. That's why it happened when you got up. Yeah, you're still there. I think he tripped a cable when he got up out of the chair. So now it's.
The memory card was not completed correctly. Do you want to recover your data? That's what it's saying.
Okay. Am I blurry? Whatever.
You are. But it's okay. But the background isn't.
There we go. Okay, we'll wrap it up. Last question. Ready? What advice do you have to people who are on their bullshit right now but want to get off?
I mean, if you want it, you'll do it. Otherwise, you don't really want it.
Yeah, that's
which is also fine to just be like, actually, I don't want this thing. I feel like I should have this thing, but I don't actually want to go after it. That's great.
Make a fucking choice. Yeah.
Totally. People can be like, oh, I only was doing this because like my mom told me that I should do this when I was like blah blah.
Yeah.
And I'm like trying to be this, like fit myself into a box all this time. I can just like let go of this. Like that's great too.
Right.
But just like if you want it, you'll do it. If you don't want it, you won't do it.
The end. It's not that complicated. Yeah.
No, it's not.
All right. Well, I love you to pieces. Thank you so much for doing this. It was super
Happy guys. Ming, it was nice to meet you for 5 seconds.
Ming, she says it was nice to meet you for 5 seconds.
Oh, we'll meet in person soon.
Hope so.
All right, girl. Everyone should follow Stella. Look out for her new album next year. I'm sure I will be blasting it from the rooftops when that happens.
Yeah.
Go follow her because she's got good stuff.
Right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.